A lot more people are trusting him, and a lot more people are favoring him and think he's doing a good job. And Duterte was losing a lot of support. But having said that, pagpasok ng 2025, ayan na dahil sa pag-approve ng budget ng New Year, and all the anomalies on it, and then everyone else jumping on that and literally chomping at the bits of every problem they can find with a national budget. And honestly, I don't disagree with them. I think there were a lot of problems with that budget, and that was, I think, Marcos's misstep, na nagkamali siya talaga doon, na miscalculate niya kung ano yung impact doon, and man, people took advantage of it, and now that pendulum is swinging back, and even INC has now thrown their support at VP Sara. Undoubtedly, I mean, you cannot deny that it was definitely VP Sara they're supporting, but they were trying to tiptoe around the issue by saying they're supporting Marcos, di ba? Yun na nga yun eh. Pero with Marcoleta on the stage, and then when the spokesman, I mean, specifically said, we don't want the impeachment to happen, with the stupid logic that they came up with. Sorry, that's even an insult to logic to call it logic. It was completely illogical. Pero as I've said nga in my video in the past, na ang problema sa ating mga Pilipino kasi, pag may marinig tayo na hindi natin naiintindihan, ina-assume lang natin na tama na yon, tinatanggap na natin. Versus actually questioning, bakit parang hindi nagme-make sense ang sinasabi ng mga taong to? Then you'll understand what a logical fallacy is. So, because of that, the way people spin messages, now, Sara is gaining a little bit of momentum. Baka tumakbo na daw siyang presidente. So, but remember, it's just the start of the year. And then Enrile comes around. Now, the great thing is, Enrile gave his 2 cents.
Johnny,
And wow.
Mang Johnny to the rescue.
And honestly, I'm not a fan of Enrile. Man, I not at all. But when I read what he said, I said,
he makes sense.
I have to agree with him. It made sense. It was perfectly worded, succinctly worded, and precise. It was sharp, and you would understand what he was trying to say. And from there, what surprised me was BBM picked it up. Doon ako nagulat. And then they said, I agree with my legal counsel. I'm like, wow. So now, I think BBM, I don't think he's really against that impeachment. I think it's a time. I really believe that when he said it's a timing issue. So just because May 2025 is coming along, and honestly, as Mark knows, when it's campaign period right now, sobrang busy just campaigning. Look at all the congressmen right now. They're so busy campaigning. There not a lot of work's getting done. Not a lot of hearings are going to be done. And even a lot of the work behind those hearings are not going to be done.
Yeah, just to be clear, thank you for that. Before I go to Mark, so just to be clear, essentially what Mang Johnny was saying, no matter how big your rally is, that doesn't mean you can impose the constitutional order or prevent the rule of law from being exercised. Of course, it's very ironic coming from JPE, looking at more than half a century in public service, but it's a sound argument. My thing though with Marcos is that Marcos did triple speak, right? So I agree with Enrile, the finest mind. I understand that the Congress also has to do impeachment, but this is not the right time. I was like, na naman tayo. Tapos sa likod pa niya si Martin Romualdez na gumaganon-ganon si Martin Romualdez. I think the number 2. So here we are again, like BBM trying to balance and, to make sure that, he covers all the bases. I want to get Mark's point of view and then go back to you again, Christian. Ikaw, Mark, anong basa mo dito from INC to Enrile and then BBM again coming in and doing what he does best, which is muddy the water. No, just kidding. Na naman tayo. BBM.
Buti pinaalala mo, Richard. Ikaw ba, Chris, nakasulat ka na ba? Di pa ako nakakasulat sa Central eh. Kailangan ko palang sumulat, Richard. Kailangan ko palang sumulat. Susulat pa ako. Tapos, iniisip ko pa kung anong pwede kong gawin o para makasama doon sa i-endorso. Pero anyway,
ayan tayo.
Okay, so, yung rally ng INC, ang nagsalita si Marcoleta, parang rally niya no? Parang rally lang for Marcoleta yung nangyari doon. Pero at the same time, INC is still parang stating its support for the presidency of BBM. So, siguro against din sila for any destabilization laban kay BBM. Para sa akin, kumbaga, yung ginagawa ni BBM is balancing it all eh. You have to play, para sa akin, you still have 3.5 years to win back the INC. Kasi baka yun yung naging problema eh. Yung unang mga taon ng kanyang presidency, baka hindi, may mga bagay na hindi na pagkasunduan or may mga bagay na, whatever reason is that, kung whatever, ano ba yung mga tawag doon sa parang kung anong pwede mong accommodation that you could give to a big organization like that. Baka hindi sila maayos or kung ano man.
Concession ng
concession, whatever. That's the reality of politics, di ba? You still have 3.5 years para ayusin yan. Baka naman kailangan mo lang ligawan or suyuin. So, BBM is playing safe. Hindi ko din naman ma-imagine nga that the president is going all out na i-impeach nyo na si Sara, yan na yan. So, tignan na lang natin kung ano yung mangyayari sa ground or sa Congress mismo. Pero definitely, kung sa public perception tsaka sa momentum, talagang na-slow down yung momentum ng impeachment nung rally na yan nung INC. Which is, kumbaga kung isipin mo, medyo dangerous din for them as a group. Kasi syempre,
din yan. Yeah.
Oo nakikialam ka na eh. It's one thing na you choose a candidate, nakarapatan nyo naman pumili, black voting kayo, kung gusto ninyo. But it's another thing na nakikialam ka na exactly dun sa takbo nung So, ayan, you just, yung sulat, siguro gawin ko na next week, kaya papadala ko sa Central.
Wala akong kinalaman sa dalawang kandidato dito bilang the only candidate in this conversation. But okay, Chris, I want to come back to you because we had this discussion last year and of course, naintindihan natin, BBM would want to distance himself. First of all, because of the principle of separation of powers. Dapat walang kinalaman yung presidente. Of course, we know it's the reality, but whatever. Of course, second, I think, if you're BBM also as the president, you don't want bad headlines for the country. The economy is slowing down. Investors may not take things kindly if they see na parang potential gulo. I understand also that sense of responsibility. Yun yung mahirap eh. Kung presidente ka kasi may responsibility ka eh. Unlike, the right? Spare tires. So may asymmetry dyan in the sense that BBM has more reason to be cautious than the other side. So I'm trying to be fair to BBM and of course also the projection of independence and I don't want to be part of it. But going back to this issue, I think people who know a thing or two about the actual discussions behind the scenes, hindi ko sasabihin na Ronald Llamas yung pangalan or Trillanes, but going back to so essentially ang pagkaintindi ko ngayon is ang debate dito is tactics and sequencing. So one school of thought is ngayon yung trial, pwede mo isabay and this is based on previous impeachment trials in the Senate. The idea is that you do the trial now with the current composition pero hintayin mo yung next Congress bago magkaroon ng boto, especially if you're the admin side who thinks you'll do much better in these elections than the Duterte side. I think so far, Bongo is the only one from Team DDS na malaking chance na makapasok ulit. Lahat alanganin. Even yung mga hindi DDS all the way, even if yung isa pangalan Marcos, medyo malanganin din sa top 12. And then there's the other school of thought which is saying, actually, baka after elections, kanya-kanyang diskarte na yan, 2028 na, wala ka na hawak sa mga kandidatos. Ang gagawin mo, isingit mo yung voting dun sa few weeks na meron ka before a new Congress comes in, but tapos na yung election. So yung mga takot na mawala ng Mindanao vote, pero pro-admin, pwede na sila bumoto kasi tapos na elections, whether talo or panalo. Do you get what I'm saying? So actually, very tactical na yung discussion ngayon. Hindi siya strategic eh. Kumaga, wala na eh. I think too many lines have been crossed. Nevertheless, I don't know if you guys have heard about it. There's another school of thought that is saying that may mga nandyan sa admin or ruling coalition na nagsabi, mukhang malabo na ito, it's hard to really bring down Duterte's, the strategy should be containment. Sampan mo na maraming kaso over and over. Just keep them weak and weaker since Sara's number, baksak na baksak. Her net approval is just over 20%. And sa Okta, she's only 48 with a disapproval of 28 versus BBM at 65% with a net approval of barely 10%. So BBM actually in Okta is more than 20 points ahead of Sara in net approval rating, much closer in Pulse Asian probably established. But in short, I agree na mutual destruction siya pero mas alanganin ng mga Dutertes. So there's a school of thought saying, containment na lang tayo, we don't need to go for the nuclear option kasi masyadong komplikado, maraming pwedeng mga loopholes. Ikaw, what is your read of this tactical, situational debates, etc.? And do you see any risk down the road na baka mag-backfire ito and you might give the Dutertes too much room for comeback? Because you should never underestimate populists, right? They can always come back. I and Mark have been saying it. Trump came back stronger than ever.
Yeah, and actually, if you think about it, the Duterte still have a lot of power. So, we've always said it naman eh. I've never changed my position on this. Na pag ang mga Dutertes, hindi mo talaga todohin. Itodo na. Ubusin mo na kung ubusin mo. Pag binalikan ka talaga nila, my God, alam mo naman sobrang vindictive ng mga yan. Nakita mo yan sa tatay niya. Nakita mo nga si Sarah, what she is willing to do and her siblings. And they're already talking about what they're going to do in 2028 pag nanalo si Sara. Kaya yun yung nakakatakot dito. And the thing is, right, you cannot take those threats lightly. And honestly, tama naman si Enrile, not just about the impeachment, but if Marcos does not do anything with regards to filing charges against Sara and the dad for the statements they made, the plans they made when it comes to not just the death
rule of law na
threats.
sinasabi mo, brother.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. And those two, I mean, they both have disbarment cases nga, and I'd be surprised if they don't get disbarred because everything they did is above and against the law. They should be disbarred immediately. So dito natin malalaman talaga kung, yun na nga, like I've said, kung may ipin ng batas, number one. Number two, kung may lakas loob si Marcos talaga. Kasi nga, even if he was going to be a diplomat about it, they're not diplomats. You could be all smiling. They won't be the same to you when the time comes. Pag binaliktad mo na, kung sila ang in power, they're not gonna be as diplomatic as you are right now. Ibang-iba ang trato sa iyo niyan and sa pamilya mo.
Rules. They don't play by the same rules. I think all of us should have understood it by now. Absolutely. Very good point, Christian. Ikaw, Mark, anong basa mo dyan? Do you think there's a risk here of underestimating Dutertes? Do you think there's a risk here na if you don't go all in, pwede mag-blow back to ng big time later on?
Kasi yung nakikita natin kay PBBM na parang minsan is being soft or minsan yun parang ipakita lang sa public or para hindi magkaroon ng bad image yung bansa. Pero I think sa likod they are all in and it's a matter kung anong strategy yung gagawin nila. Pero I believe na itong 2025 is the year to do it. Kapag lumagpas ka pa ng taon na ito, if you don't end the Duterte this year, ang hirap na next year may magkaka-momentum na going to 2028 We will only be 2 years away from the next presidential election. So this year is the year to do it. I think they will go all in. Kung paano yung itsura ng all-in na yun, syempre, yung nga sinabi mo nga, may iba't ibang strategy, pwedeng after the elections, as after the Pero if they don't do it this year, then their final hope is yung makakatalo kay Sara sa 2028. Yun na lang yung matitira sa kanila. That's
right.
Their final.
We'll talk about Tulfos and we'll talk about also the genuine opposition, Pink, later on. But before we wrap up this part of the discussion, ako kasi, bro, I mean, in fairness, we are like-minded, but of course, we're across the political spectrum. In terms of, people who want a better Philippines, but probably we have slightly different takes on this issue. But I think on this issue, medyo similar ang take natin. Kasi, Chris, so as I was telling Mark, I was telling you, by the way, of course, nakasama ko si Chelo Magno, so it's good to talk to those people kasi Chelo Magno has been taking up the cudgels for really exposing itong mga anomalya or alleged anomalies dito sa budget ng well, I won't say budget ng administration per se kasi pinasa rin ito ng legislatura. Let's just call it the 2025 budget, among other things. Ako parati ko sinasabi, go all in criticizing if talaga sa tingin mo may kababalakan, may maharlika from whatever, but just make sure hindi ka i-hijack nung kabila, which is what Duterte is doing. Because, Chris, you should know this better than all of us. If there's one guy who did best online doing a legit breakdown of Quadcom hearing, it's you, right? No offense to the rest of us. But now, no one cares about Quadcom anymore, at least it's nowhere close, right? So that means na-hijack na, in a sense that the Dutertes are using all of their machinery, troll farms, whatever you want to call it, to sakyan. Nakita ko yung mga ibang DDS nga, sinasabi nila parang team ano kami, yung mga alam mo na, hindi ko na, parang hey Darian, wala, ano ka, yung mga alam mo na, I don't have to drop names. But my also argument is, in fairness naman, the other side of this coin is baka naman ang may risk din dito is nagpapagamit ang left or mga progressives na nagsampa ng impeachment kasi look at all the three impeachment file, Akbayan, Makabayan. So the other side of this argument, I'm just trying to be fair, is that ingat din yung mga iba na focus kay Duterte, baka at the end of the day they'll just end up doing the dirty job but the job doesn't get done and then they end up with empty bag. Right? So there's risk either way. Again, I'm trying to be fair to the all sides of the argument here, right? Pero ako, at the end of the day, my argument is simple. I focus on the greater evil, unahin mo muna yan, and then go to the next one if you think there's still problem. Ganon kasimple lang yan. And that should not prevent the opposition from building also its own momentum for 2028, right? It's not like kung Dutertes are taken down, automatically magintutan ng administration ng opposition. I just don't buy that argument. And then, pwede mamaya, one-on-one na lang sila for 2020. Basta ang point ko is, pwede mo i-sequence yan, pwede mo i-prioritize one by one. Kasi there's no way the genuine opposition, which is relatively weak at this point, to take on both of them. And I think it would be, di ba yung meme na yung guy na nagsisigarilyo habang nagsusuntukan ng mga tao sa stadium? It's not the responsible way forward. You tell me, guys. I mean, I think we are kind of like-minded on this point, right?
Yeah. Actually, I'd like to know, Richard, when you said that, you're referring to Shelo?
No, but people are like-minded. But it could also... no, actually, sometimes yung mga DDS, they even mention her among other people to use against me. They say, oh, Richard, see, pati nga yung mga ganyan. Tapos sabi ko, no, tama yung argument nila, but don't hijack it, diba? But again, Chela is doing her own part. I think you need what she's doing. Ang point ko lang is don't lose sight of the big picture.
Yeah.
But the risk goes both ways. Of course, I agree with that. So, tama rin yung concerns nila Chelo rin. So, of course, some of her concerns was raised off the record, so I cannot share. But I think she has many legitimate concerns. And kaya I'm trying to be fair. I'm looking, but at the end of the day, for me, focus on the greater evil, sequence mo yan while building the opposition, which is something I want to ask you both about. Ikaw, Chris, aside from putting me in trouble, nagpaganda ka ng diplomacy ko this week, sinisira mo na naman.
Alam mo, Richard, for me kasi, I actually agree with you on this, and I think we're a little bit more center than most people think. And yung nakikita ko dito kasi with what Shelo's doing is, man, she's just shooting, man, blazing guns everywhere. Kahit sino tamaan, let's go, di ba? And there's nothing wrong with that. And you do you, we do me. Ganun lang naman yun sa akin. And
exactly.
she has every right.
Yeah.
She has every right to say and do whatever she wants. Nothing wrong with that. It's our job to counter it. Kasi it's our job to to be the balance. To say, okay, yes, tama yan. Pero if you lose sight of this is going to be a problem. It'll bite you in the ass worse. This is going to become a worse problem by you focusing on this versus you focusing on this. You can talk about both, but don't lose sight of the bigger problem. Kumbaga, meron kang dalawang cancer. Yung isa localized pa. Kaya mo pang ayusin to. Yung isa kumakalat na, ito kailangan mong patayin ngayon kasi kung hindi, ito yung papatay sa atin lahat. So what Shelo's doing, unfortunately, is focusing on the smaller problem than dealing with the bigger problem.
Just to be clear, when we say smaller, it's not because we're saying corruption is not bad. We're saying if there's one thing worse than corruption, it's mass EJK, killing tens of thousands of people. Right?
I'll even go
worse
for
than that is treason potentially and gentleman's agreement with China. So I just want to spell it out. Now when we say greater evil, may basihan tayo. Hindi lang itong usapan ng sino mas corrupt. EJK ang pinag-usapan, gentleman's agreement pinag-usapan.
Yeah, let's put it this way, Tama yung sinabi mo, Richard, and isipin mo na lang to, okay. Everyone's corrupt in politics. Baseline mo yan ng politician, O yan na. Pareho yan, Ang pinagkaiba, yung isa kahit papaano, may demokrasya tayo nakikita. Kahit papaano, nakakapagsalita tayo. There's no fear in speaking out. Kahit papaano, this one, may mga palpak, nakikinig pa rin. Notice how many times he would listen and, feel the room, read the room, and say, okay, I'll do this. So, the other one doesn't give a shit about all of that and has shown tendencies to go above and beyond the law. Actually, pag tinignan mo nga lahat ng moves ng mga Duterte, it is always above the law. They have never played within the same rules as we're playing ever in anything. So, yan ang mas dangerous. Somebody who has absolutely no respect for the law, no fear of the law, and you want to put that person back in power? Ay, good luck. So, you're not just talking about corruption anymore. You're talking about the absolute usurpation of the entire country, democracy, money, lahat yan, everything na. Your rights, basic rights, all gone. This may even be worse than what we've experienced in our lifetime.
I mean, just to be clear, if hindi vice president yung mga Dutertes, hindi sila in line of succession, maybe my argument would have been slightly different. The point is that if BBM goes down for whatever reason, naturally, constitution, whatever,
yes,
it will automatically take over. Do not forget that hard fact. Ikaw, Mark, what is it? Do you think we are being too emotional or whatever? Do you think we're nagpapanik kami? Kasi ako, I experienced horrible things during the Duterte administration. I don't know about the other people. I don't know nasan sila all those Duterte years. But ako, I saw how hard it was to speak out against anything. Grabe, death threats, bababuin ka, bastusin ka, you don't know if you're gonna stay alive. I mean, back in the day, I was semi-exiled during Duterte time. Practically every month I was abroad. There were times 2-3 months I'm abroad, of course, doing academic work or writing books. But actually, I was concerned for my life. I'm not saying things are perfect right now, but it's different degrees. Different degrees, di ba, Mark?
Yeah. Yung ginagawa ni Ms. Shelo Magno, ano yan fiscalizing I think in every democracy, importante yan. Whether tama o mali yung mga argument niya. Ako, I'm happy na merong mga tao na openly criticizing or fiscalizing or kasi hindi naman perfecto yung budget, syempre. Whether kung gaano ka kurakot or gaano ka ano. Syempre merong mga mali dyan at merong mga ibang mga politicians na susubok magpasok nung mga gusto nilang ipasok dyan. So hindi mo maaalis yung mga meron talaga magsusubok na ipasok yung ganito, ilakihan yung ganon. So tama lang na merong fiscalizers like Shelo Magno. Pero tama yung sinabi mo Kasi tignan mo si Shelo ngayon, imagine if Shelo did that
This during the pandemic of Digong, baka ma-cyber life, yeah, I mean, exactly. That's the perfect way of putting it. If you dare to do the same thing you're doing now to BBM during Digong, tignan natin ang mangyari sa'yo. That would be an idea. And not to mention, Sara could be worse than Digong. Diba? I don't know. I think Sara will be even more pikon than Digong. Because Digong at least had humor. At, ito, mas galit ang mga Duterte ngayon
And ano nga sa yung mga BBM na vloggers, yung mga admin na vloggers, wala ako masyado nakikita na na inaatake or kinikriticize si Shelo So, medyo busy rin siguro sila nakikipag-away sa mga DDS. Pero ang layo ang layo nung panahon dati. So, yun, at least on that end.
I think, Kristen, even also in your interview, right, with Leila de Lima, right? Speaking of fiscalizer, she was the fiscalizer along with Trillanes, Senator Trillanes during Duterte's time. I mean, she said it, at least now meron tayong democratic space. Right?
Yeah.
It's not a full-fledged democracy. We're not Scandinavia. We're not Denmark. But my goodness, it's different levels yan, diba? Levels yan, as Joe Rogan would put it. There are levels to the game. This is a completely different ball game.
And not just that, remember that, right now, nakikita mo nga, Congress is working, Senate is working, the judicial system is working. All three branches of the government are functioning. And at least from the offset, mukhang wala namang undue influence na nangyayari. Kasi, remember, you see the differences between how Senate acts, how Senate decides, to how Congress decides. So, the fact that you're seeing this contrast between the two and their positions, nakikita mo that Malacanang seems to not be trying to influence things too much because they could if they would. Much like the previous administration. Total control of Senate, total control of Congress, total control of the judiciary. Yun ang nakakatakot. On top of the fact that total destruction of the media, the fourth estate. So, lahat yan ipagsama mo sa ginawa nila versus ang ginawa ngayon ni Marcos is allowing things to just move on its own. That's the big difference. Kaya nga talagang and not just that, by the way, I have to add, na-realize ko na yung mga vloggers ni Marcos, mga kung may troll farm siya, I'm not even sure if he really has a troll farm. Compared to the Duterte troll farm, The Duterte troll farm, like, they look at you, me, Mark, I'm not sure, ikaw baka you're maybe on the good side pa, pero me and Richard, probably, minumura kami araw-araw ng mga yan. There's no parang middle ground to try to
As
talk.
we speak, dami mga pambabas. Kasi nasa TikTok rin tayo ngayon.
Nakikita mo?
As we speak, binabastos ako ngayon, like as we speak.
You're seeing the comments?
Yeah. I didn't,
Okay.
I never got that experience from criticizing Marcos's, for
Exactly. And not just that, I want to add that I've been pro Marcos vloggers have reached out to me and said, Chris, can we do a collab? And they were willing to listen. That was the interesting thing. And they know that I'm not pro Marcos, but yet they were willing to have me on their vlog, and I welcome that. I'm planning to schedule one soon with one of them. And that's what I saw the difference. Na even if we don't agree on our political views, we can still have a discussion. Versus the Dutertes, their vloggers, oh my God, there is no sense. Sorry, kung sinusuportahan nyo si Duterte, kayo mga nakikinig ngayon, matuto tayo makipag-usap. Walang, when you're insulting me kasi wala naman tayong napapala dito sa usapan na to. Ang nangyayari lang dito, parang kang asong ulol na tumatahol. And pag ako tinataholan ng aso, hindi naman ako Ikaw ba, Richard, kung tumahol ang aso sa'yo, tatahol ka pa balik? Mark, di ba? Pag may aso tumahol, anong gagawin mo? Tatahol ka? Hayaan mo lang yan. Asong ulol, tumatahol, di ba? So yun lang sa akin. You wanna debate? Let's debate. You wanna discuss? Let's discuss. You wanna bark at me? You're not gonna get a reaction.
Yeah, I mean, again, I've been critical of this administration, Maharlika Fund, on a lot of other issues. Pero napansin ko, pagdating sa West Philippine Sea, diba, open sila sa ideas. So parang they separate my criticism from my constructive comments. May ganon democratic openness, if I can put it that way, na wala dun sa kabila. As simple as that. Parang you criticize them on one thing, you're the enemy, period. Wala akong sabihin. That's a big difference. In fact, yung kaibigan natin na historiador, si Leloy Claudio, his argument is, Leloy is a proud pink dilaw, right? Ang point niya is, actually, BBM is a standard EDSA president. Yeah, may mga anomalya, may mga ganyan. But at the end of the day, he operates within the framework. So ironically, Marcos Jr. is an EDSA president still. Now, we'll have a different discussion once there's a Chacha discussion again. But as of now, the one who are a threat to a constitutional order are the Dutertes. Okay, before we make more... ruffle more feathers na inayos ko nga nung past few days. Tinira ni... Chris, ikaw na naman imbitahin nila sa mga parties nila, not me. But it's okay, like I care. But joking aside, no, it's a joke because, whatever. Mark, I want to ask you right now, where do you see... kasi nasa Bicol ako, di ba? Past few days. And we were talking about visiting Bicol, etc. What is your read of the situation on the ground for the pink movement, for the genuine opposition? Kasi Mark, you're very neutral compared to me and Kristen. Now, kami ni Kristen talagang pinuntahan namin yung mga rallies ng pink, among other things. So you are much more to the center than, center na kami ni Kristen, but you're even more centered than us. What is your read objectively of Lenny, of opposition? How are they doing? Kasi I called Lenny the comeback queen of 2024. I think from obscurity, temporary obscurity, she came back, and then Mark Oleta, Robin Hood Padilla, kung lang na lang si Bato, they'll all go and shake her hands and pay respects to her. And Riza Ontiveros did fantastic last year. We are all big fans of what she has done last year. I think, ikaw, Kristan, ang laki ng views mo dun sa mga coverage mo sa mga hearings ni Riza Ontiveros. So, we have these champions that I think are giving a semblance of hope. But at the same time, of course, Mark, let's be realistic. Pagdating sa resources, political capital, popularity, malayo pa rin ang Dutertes and Marcoses so far. So, what is your read, Mark, so far?
Paano for the pink movement, kung how are they doing now?
Anong kalagayan if you're gonna do a parang diagnostics at saka prognostications for 2025? Kiko seems to have a good chance, right? Bam is not too far
away.
Bam
din, ang ganda din nung
ganda ng moment.
Ganda din nung ginagawa ni Lenny, in fairness to her. Di ba, lumabas sa news, she will go around and campaign for Bam, campaign for Kiko. Leila is very visible. Kitang-kita lahat, si Chel, nandun ngayon, I think, sa Cebu, sa Sinulog, nandun sila lahat. Trillanes also, very visible, going against the Dutertes, running in Caloocan. I think kailangan lang magdagdag Kailangan lang lumawak yung reach ng pink. Oo eh. And yung mga ano, yung pinakamalapit, syempre hindi mo, kasi parang ang nangyayari, kailangan, parang may purity test eh. Kailangan ganito dapat, pero kumbaga, mas lenient or kumbaga i-expand yung mga pink na talking heads, yung mga pink na mga celebrities, na political celebrities. Maraming pwedeng like for example nga si Heidi Mendoza eh. That's why I was happy na she ran for Senate eh. Kasi you have a new talking head na mas aligned doon sa gusto ng Pinks. O tapos yun nga, like I said, I would always give the example of Iloilo, 'di ba? Which is Drilon country. Na ang ganda nung ginagawa nila doon sa Iloilo ngayon, yung mga wires nasa ilalim na, yung mga esplanade bago pa gawin dito sa Manila, ginawa na doon sa Iloilo. So, yung even the son of Mar, Rojas is running for Congress.
Right. Magaling
Sa Rojas.
Matalino.
So, I think
there's
a need to expand it. Na wag maging masyadong exclusive, wag maging masyadong may purity test pa, dapat pure na pure, dapat ano. Kumbaga that's how you expand siguro the base and you grow yung alliance, you grow yung and yun, makipagkampihan sa and make alliances doon sa ibang progressives and siguro yun, for example nga sila Luke and Leody. Diba? I think Luke and Leody, there's an effort on their part na makasama dito sa Pink na grupo, na Kiko Bam.
Yeah, movement. Yeah.
Yeah, yung mga tulad nga like ni Eli San Fernando and na magkasama ni Shelo Magno na nagrarally nung nakaraang linggo, diba? So, to grow sa iba't ibang sectors sa progressive, tapos meron yung kailangan mo din mag-include ng trapo eh. At least yung matitinong trapo. At least yung
That's an oxymoron. Parang hindi nag-make sense pero okay.
Parang ano eh.
Hindi, I mean compare sa mga trapo na grabe talaga. Mas matinong trapo.
Hindi crocodile, alligator lang. Hindi crocodile. Just to be
also yung mga mayors for good governance, yung mga ganun. So merong mga merong mga you need to expand yung mga kasama sa base nung Pink to form a larger alliance. Diba? Tingnan mo, yung mga dati yung kasama siguro. Ewan ko. Yeah.
I agree. Ikaw, Chris, balikan kita. Actually, I got to watch yung mga content mo, political content. Kasi dati purong Bitcoin. We can talk about that. No, but and very reasonable. Very, very reasonable yung mga interventions mo. Obviously, I think all of us were really overwhelmed by the moment, right? Grabe yung daming tao, volunteerism, ganun. And then may nawala sa eksena. But I think now you can kind of feel the embers are there or pwedeng painitin pa yung mga charcoal dyan, di ba? What is your feel right now? Do you think that the Pink movement can come back stronger or some mutation? Yeah. And that 2025 might not be the culmination pero pwede mo i-warm up ito for 2028.
Alam mo, napansin ko, since 2022, since after the elections, there was some sort of for lack of a better word, an awakening of the Filipinos. But how do I say that? The fact that we're having this vlog, the fact that there's people like all the new vloggers that are popping out, there's a lot of new vloggers who have a different voice from the troll army narratives that we were getting, the propaganda, the fake news from earlier years. And
mga based sa Beijing, mga ganun yung mga
Yes, exactly. Yung mga tuta ng China dyan, marami dyan eh. So, alam mo, yun na nakita ko nagbago. So, and I noticed talaga there is a shift in the mindset of the Filipino. So, yes, there is a general shift now towards being more critically aware and to think better and to wag lang mabudol. Even the INC rally that just happened recently, you saw that there was a lot of pushback against it. And that's where I saw the big difference. So, in terms of that, I think that whether it's the Dilawans or the Pinks, they're kind of like sibling parties, not really, there's commonalities, but it's kind of separate. Alam mo, regardless of the color, it's this for me. Speak clearly, speak plainly, speak boldly. Kasi yun ang kulang natin that I'm seeing people love that boldness in character. That's why si Ellie San Fernando, 'di ba? Tama ba?